Different angles tonight, but we want to begin with the question of impeachment, because that was the point of what he said today. Mollie Hemingway is a senior editor at The Federalist. She has covered this saga from the very first day until now, and she joins us tonight from Phoenix. Mollie, great to see you. So it did seem, if you stripped away everything in Mueller's remarks down to the essence, what he's really saying is, hey, Congress, please impeach. Why would he do that?
Well, I think the whole idea behind this special counsel was an insurance policy, a way to put forth an impeachment report. And that's why we were told for years that there was treasonous collusion with Russia. The bad news for the people who wanted to impeach Trump for the crime of winning the 2016 election, that there was no collusion with Russia to steal the 2016 election. And so that's when they went to Plan B, which was to come up with this elaborate theory of obstruction. And even on that, they were unable to come up with any indictments for obstruction. But that was always sort of the idea. And in fact, the failure of the Russia hoax means that the media are particularly invested, as are Democrats who participated in this collusion conspiracy theory, of coming up with something that enables them to avoid accountability for perpetuating that hoax. And this is the perfect idea, to immediately go on to impeachment, even though there was no crime that we were told there was ample evidence of for many years, treasonous collusion with Russia to steal the 2016 election.
So, I mean, not to be, a stickler for detail or anything, but before we get to impeachment, do you have any idea what the charge would be?
Well, I think that, again, the underlying crime is sort of irrelevant, because the idea is that this president needs to be removed from office. And so it'll be whatever they think that they can come up with. The idea that you would convince the American people that someone who complained about an investigation that turned to be based on a false smear of treason, that complaining about that means that you obstructed or that you really didn't like this investigation, that's going to be a difficult thing to convince the American people of. But for people who think that the guilt is already apparent because of what happened in 2016, it doesn't really matter. And as I mentioned, there is an effort by people in the media and others who perpetuated the Russia hoax to not be held accountable for what they did. Taking these leaks from people, not asking difficult questions of why they were getting these leaks or what they really meant. And if this enables them to avoid being held accountable, they're all for it.
So if you didn't like the president's program, what he was elected on in 2016, if you thought, for example, the United States should continue involvement in various Middle Eastern wars, should not become closer to Russia, all the things that he ran on, basically, if you wanted to prevent that agenda from being enacted, you would create a distraction like the one we've just seen. Do you think this is a continuation of the distraction?
I do, and I also think the fact that people who perpetuated this false smear of treasonous collusion with Russia to steal the 2016 election, they understand that if there is an investigation into how that narrative was set, how it was weaponized by our federal government, who engaged in criminal wrongdoing, such as the criminal leaks of classified information to undo a democratic election, they understand that this is a threat and that this might be also an effort to make sure that that there's some leverage there so that people will not be held accountable who engaged in this wrongdoing. Again, you're free to dislike Donald Trump or dislike that he won the election, but there is a limit to what you should be able to do in terms of using the levers of law enforcement or intelligence agencies to throw a fit over what the American people decided.
Yeah, the whole system falls apart when you do that. As you pointed out repeatedly, Mollie Hemingway, thanks very much.
Thank you.
Ian Pryor is a former